Hey everyone, today I'll be teaching you how to make these apple hand pies and strawberry cheesecake hand pies. The recipe I used for the apple pies were from a famous pastry chef, and the recipe I used for the strawberry cheesecake pies is just something I made up because I really wanted to copy the ones from Popeyes because they're bomb. These pies are absolutely delicious, they're buttery, they're flaky, they're sweet, and just so good. Although it did take me a really long time to make them, I think it was totally worth it, and I would make them again. Alright, let's get started with the video. Fill a 2-cup measuring cup with ice. Top the measuring cup off with 1/2 cup of water and then set to the side. Cut 1.5 cups of European unsalted style butter into tiny cubes. So in the recipe it says to cut it into 1/2 to 1 inch pieces, and I used a ruler and everything, and then by the end of it I was like, it isn't even that serious, just cut them into small cubes. In a large bowl, pour in 2 cups and 1/3 cup of flour. Then add 2 and 1/4 teaspoons of salt. Whisk until well combined. Then add your cubed butter into the flour. Incorporate the butter into the flour with your hands. Add 3 tablespoons of the ice water that you set to the side without adding any ice into the flour mixture. Using your hands slightly cupped as paddles, toss the water into the flour until it is fully absorbed. Hello, this is post-editing Kiona talking, back at you with the clouds. I deleted the footage of me adding the water into the dough and then kneading it in, so we're just gonna imagine that I did that, what I just said. Okay, cool, you know what to do. You didn't see it, but you know. Okay, bye-bye. Back to the video. So then the recipe said to add 1 tablespoon of water at a time, paddling with hands between each addition until mixture begins to form a shaggy dough. So it said to use 1/4 cup to 1/3 cup of water. I believe I used 1/3 cup of water in total when making the dough. So when you're finished, the dough should feel moist but not wet or sticky. When you're finished, sprinkle flour on a clean surface. Knead your dough a bit, at least 4 to 5 turns. Divide the dough into 2 pieces. Form each piece into a disc and then wrap in plastic wrap. When you're finished, place both of the doughs into the fridge to chill for at least an hour or up to 3 days. First, we're going to start with the strawberry filling. Wash and dry your strawberries. Alright, so somebody commented in my last video that you're not supposed to let the strawberries soak in water. I believe that's what they said. They also said that the strawberries will absorb the water, and I looked this up for further information because I didn't know this. And yeah, the strawberries will become less sweet and they'll absorb the water, and so it said to, after you rinse them off, dry them, and that's what I did. So thanks for the advice. Now that our strawberries are clean and dry, we are going to cut them up into small pieces. Cut the stem off. Then cut it down the middle, then cut them into 4s, and then start cutting them horizontally. Continue to cut the strawberries into itty bitty pieces. Place your chopped pieces into a small bowl. In the bowl with the chopped strawberries, pour 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Then mix until well combined. In a small pot, pour 2/3 cup of water. Then add 6 tablespoons of sugar. Then add 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Mix until well combined. Bring the mixture to a boil. Then let it boil for 1 minute. Then add your strawberries. I only added about half of the strawberries I cut into this. Then mix it in for about 2 to 3 minutes. Let it simmer for about 3 minutes. After that, remove it from the heat. Add another tablespoon of sugar and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Pour into a container and then let it chill in the fridge. For the cream cheese filling, whisk 8 ounces of softened cream cheese until smooth. Add 4 tablespoons of sugar. Then 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Then add 1 egg yolk. When everything's well combined, place in the fridge to chill. For the apple filling, start by pouring 3 cups of dried apple slices in a large pot. Then add 4 cups of unsweetened apple cider. Cover and let it sit for 1 hour. In a small pan, add 1/8 teaspoon of green cardamom seeds, 2 whole cloves, and 1/2 teaspoon of black peppercorns. Stirring often until fragrant for 2 to 3 minutes over medium heat. After that, let it cool. Once everything is cooled, place inside a Ziploc bag. Then use brute force to crush it into dust. Yeah, so you're supposed to use a spice blender, but I didn't have that. And then I looked it up and then it said you could use a coffee grinder, but I don't have a coffee grinder. So then the third option was brute force. And I was like, well, I have that. So I just kept rolling it with a rolling pin and hitting it with the iron skillet. And it worked! Blunt force with a heavy object and a rolling pin. That's what I call DIY. It's lame, but it's true. When you're finished, set the spices to the side to use later. Place the large pot with the apples back on the stove and then bring it to a boil. Let it boil for 10 minutes while stirring occasionally. Then reduce it to a simmer and then let it simmer for 40 minutes. After the 40 minutes, the liquid should be mostly absorbed. At this point, remove it from the heat. Take a vanilla bean and cut it in half. Cut it down the middle and then scrape out the seeds that are inside. They should look like this. Add your spices into the pot. Then add 3 tablespoons of light brown sugar, 1/2 teaspoon of lemon zest, and 1 1/2 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice, 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, and finally the seeds from the vanilla bean pod. Place in the oven at 400 degrees for 35 to 40 minutes. So the recipe said to place the mixture into a heat-proof bowl and then let it cool for 30 minutes. I forgot to do this part, so I left it in the pot. It still ended up fine though, but I'm just letting you know. So let it cool for 30 minutes and then place in the fridge to chill for about 2 hours. Sprinkle flour on a clean surface. Roll out the pastry dough that you made before. It should be 1/4 of an inch thick. Then cut out a 6-inch circle from the dough. Place 1/4 cup of the filling in the center of the circle. Then line the edges of the circle with an egg wash. Fold over the dough, but fold it over an inch short. Press down the dough around the filling. Then fold over the overlap. Now you're going to crimp the edges. Basically what you're going to do is take your thumb and your index finger, pinch them together, and then taking your other hand, you're going to use your pointer finger to push inward. Crimping the dough wasn't a part of the recipe, but I wanted to do it so it looked fancy. Then cut 3 small vents at the top of the pie. I basically repeated this process with the strawberry cheesecake pies. I added 1/4 cup of filling, so I basically just put both the cream cheese and the strawberries in a 1/4 cup, and then I put it in the center of the dough. That was the only difference between doing the apple pies and the strawberry cheesecake pies. I basically did the same exact thing with each of the pies, and this recipe makes 10 pies. So I made 5 apple pies and 5 strawberry cheesecake pies. When I was finished making the pies, I put them in the freezer for an hour, then I placed them in Ziploc bags and froze them. The cool thing about these pies is that you can freeze them and then bake them later and it will be totally fine. I absolutely love this fact. After I froze the pies, I went to bed, and then the next day I took my frozen pies and placed them on a baking sheet. I lightly coated all the pies in an egg wash. And then I sprinkled some sugar on them. Finally, I placed them in the oven at 375 degrees for 32 minutes. It was a long process, but we're finally done. And the pie smelled so good. It smelled like a bakery. It was awesome. And I absolutely love the strawberry cheesecake ones. I was legit trying to make the same pies as Popeyes because I absolutely love their strawberry cheesecake pies, and I think mine are better. So that I'm not exaggerating. Make sure you let the pies cool for 30 minutes to an hour on a wire rack. The pies are literally just so pretty. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you what the inside of the pies look like. So first is the apple. Then the strawberry cheesecake. Awesome, awesome, awesome! I'm telling you guys, oh my god, it's so good, I can't even describe it. I really, really like the strawberry cheesecake one, and the apple one is good as well. Alright, thank you guys for watching the video. I really have fun making this. Oh, and I also wanted to say I appreciate all your comments. I love reading all of them. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks again. Bye!